So, I mean, for the sake of time, perhaps we want to make the conversation quite brief. But let me find out from you. The IGP is now setting up a special investigative team, whereas we do have the CID over there. Would you say, I mean, let me just ask, do we indeed need a special investigative team? Whereas we do know that perhaps the CID could be tasked to also investigate into all these matters.
These are operational details that the IGP could decide, depending on the level of urgency and relevance of the case. This is a public interest matter, and so you would want to commit enough, in terms of creating a sense of urgency and special commitment to duty. And so it is in the ambit of the IGP to decide what kind of approach or what kind of a team you dedicate to. And this is not new. In the past, there have been situations where you would constitute a special team to investigate a matter, especially when it is a public interest matter. And so I think this is not out of the normal. And the interesting thing, the most important thing is that the waiting public is interested in seeing what comes out of it. Because we've done very poorly in our election history since 2020, since 1992, in terms of our capacity and willingness to ensure serious political prosecution of individuals engaging in impunity and violence. And maybe it's about time we moved away from that culture, we depart from that culture of normalizing violence and prevent future occurrences in our elections. Because it's possible that we can have elections with zero fatalities. And that is why, as an organization, that is why we're aiming for. Unfortunately, that did not happen. And hopefully we have another chance to build towards zero fatality elections in the future.
Right. Mutaro, but in 2020 elections, there were some 61 recorded cases of electoral and post-electoral violence across the country. And we saw about 6 of these cases involving some gunshots. But the worrying situation here is the fact that the police failed to update the public on its investigations. How do we repose confidence in this team if this report is anything to go by?
Well, clearly, there are many lapses and there are many questions, to the police service in terms of the ability to see through thoroughly some of these cases. Everyone was expecting that we would have regular briefings in terms of the progress made in dealing with these cases. Unfortunately, we did not, and that is something the police must address. We need to see the status of all these incidences that have happened because it involves, the loss of lives. It involves the destruction and breaches of security, and that hasn't happened. And so we need answers from the Ghana Police Service. Nonetheless, it does not preclude the reality of a good job in this current matter. And especially with the fact that the president has directly commanded the IGP to open investigations into those incidences. And we are very confident that we would get something out of it.
Right, Mutaro, before you go, do you foresee any element of bias and political interference frustrating the work of the special investigative team?
It has always been a big factor. If you speak to senior police officers, they will tell you that one of the single biggest challenges that they face is the issue of interference from the political class, and it goes both ways, both in the position and in government. And so it's an issue, it's a risk, it's a factor that they would encounter. And if you have a team that is committed to doing a job, you would be able to find ways around it to prevent that political interference from obstructing what you do. And the IGP appears to be very committed to doing or avoiding or addressing some of these things properly. And we are hopeful that he would be able to do this job without undue interference from the political class.
Mutaro, we're grateful that you could speak with us this evening.
I appreciate that.